Hey guys, and welcome to my stimulus package update and stimulus check update. Wow, I haven't said those words in so long. I want you guys to know that I missed you more than you missed me, and I'm happy I'm back here for you with another video just to give you my perspective on everything that's been going on.
The Senate passed two major bills last night.
On this vote, the yeas are 65, the nays are 27. The 60-vote threshold having been achieved, the bill is passed.
So first up, the Senate did pass the bill to prevent a government shutdown, and they will send it over to the president's desk with less than 24 hours. That's right. However, this is only a temporary CR, continuing resolution. This will only fund the government to prevent a government shutdown until March 11th. That's right. It's only about 3 weeks that this will fund the government. It's a very, very short-term government funding bill. That's right. So they did prevent a government shutdown, but only for 3 weeks. Yeah. I know what you're thinking. But this buys them some time here, and they barely got this done through the skin of their teeth, and they barely got enough votes here. They needed 60 votes to pass it. They barely got that done as well, and they got it done with less than 24 hours to spare and sent it over to the president's desk here. So they prevent a government shutdown, but they're going to have to do this all over again in like 2 weeks or so and see if they can prevent a government shutdown again. This time they're going to try to fund the government for a longer term if they can do that. I will keep you up to date here. Meanwhile, Democrats are criticizing Republicans over inflation, saying that Republicans are criticizing Democrats over inflation, but yet offering no solutions. And when it comes time to vote, Republicans aren't there. Check this out. This is pretty interesting, to say the least. Let me know your thoughts on this. Check this out.
We've talked a lot on the show about how much positive news there is in the Biden economy. As the New York Times points out, America has recorded 6.6 million new jobs since January 2021, giving Biden the strongest first year of job gains of any president since the government began collecting data under Roosevelt in 1939. The unemployment rate has dropped precipitously since the worst of the pandemic. Wages rose a rapid 5.7% in the year through January. And there's one thing that is distinctly not good news, and that is high inflation, which is making people pretty dissatisfied and is also custom made as an issue for Republicans to bang on about every chance they get.
First of all, I and my Republican colleagues have been on record for well over a year warning about inflation risks, warning about the excessive spending.
10 months into this inflation crisis, what they're doing is putting forward gimmicks, not solutions.
Now, with inflation off the charts, Joe Biden just wants to keep spending.
I got to tell you, there's a whole lot of steak-eating Ford F-150 owners in the great state of Texas. And wouldn't it be a better way to help Americans suffering the effect of Biden's inflation crisis? Wouldn't it be better to adopt appropriate monetary policies?
I can't imagine a more pernicious tax than inflation.
So here's the thing. They say that. They don't really ever say what they want to do about it. The institution best equipped to deal with rising inflation is the Federal Reserve, the Fed. They control monetary policy. So you would think the Republicans on the Senate Banking Committee would at the very least show up for a vote on the confirmation of 5 Fed nominees, including the chair and vice chair, because, again, they are so worried about inflation. But useful action appears to not be something this Republican Party can do. So when the committee met up earlier this week, not one Republican showed up. Not Ranking Member Pat Toomey or John Kennedy, who were just heard from, not Cynthia Loomis or Tim Scott or Tom Tillis. Clearly, it's better for the Republicans politically to have this level of inflation than it would be to actually do anything to help Americans dealing with it. Democratic Senator John Tester of Montana, who's on that committee, was not happy about the Republican no-show.
Our constituents sent us here to vote. Nobody's on the other side. I hear on the floor every day, Republicans get up and talk about inflation. And by the way, inflation is very important and we need to get our arms around it. But what group is out there to deal with market forces any better than the Fed? There is none. Yet they don't show up to vote. I think we should have the vote today regardless, just to prove to the constituents of these folks' states that they're not showing up. They're not showing up to do their constitutional duty that they were elected to do. And what is further rich in this situation is the number of nominees that came before us in the previous administration that were not qualified. But they showed up to vote for them.
If Republicans want to lower inflation, the least they can do is show up to work and vote for the Fed chairman, who was originally appointed by Donald Trump, as well as the other nominees. Otherwise, people might start to think their complaints might not be genuine.
So, let me know your thoughts here. This is kind of the Republican blockade. They just don't want to vote on anything. They vote no, or they don't even show up to vote. Let me know your thoughts if you're a Republican, because again, I'm considering myself a realist. And this is to vote on the Fed chairman here, which is originally appointed underneath Republicans and former Donald Trump. And they don't even show up to vote. And, Republicans are concerned about inflation. They say more so than Democrats. But they don't even show up to appoint the federal chairman and hearings about this. So let me know your thoughts on this, because if we're concerned about inflation, the Fed is going to be raising interest rates and policies about inflation. We should be voting on this, having hearings about this. So let me know your thoughts on this. The other bill the Senate passed last night here, you can check this out. Senate passes resolution supporting Ukraine amid invasion fears from Russia. The Senate last night passed a resolution supporting Kiev and urging President Biden to impose significant costs if Russia invaded Ukraine. The resolution, which passed the Senate by a voice vote, including President Biden, that an invasion by Moscow is imminent. By acting in bipartisan fashion today, the United States Senate sent a strong message to Russia and the world that we stand with Ukraine. Senator Rob Portman, a Republican, said in a statement. Senator Jeanne Shaheen, a Democrat who sponsored the resolution with Portman, said, by overwhelmingly voting in favor of this resolution, today the Senate spoke with one voice. Meanwhile, the President Biden, is out trying to promote the Build Back Better stimulus package and trying to cut costs and trying to revive the Build Back Better package, which is now going to probably be called something else and may have new stimulus provisions in there. Here's what he had to say. Let me know your thoughts on this.
Another challenge we face is easing the burden on working families. There's real inflation, and if you're in a working class family, it hurts. That's why my Build Back Better plan, what it's all about. Look, families are getting clobbered by the cost of everyday things. I know that gas and food prices are up. We're working to bring them down. I grew up in a family where the price of the pump was felt in the kitchen. Everybody knew, everybody felt it. I understand. These are necessities, but they're not the totality of what family needs. So while we work on supply chains and we work on bringing down the cost of the things that we're talking about have gone up so high, we still have other ways we can reduce the burden on working class families. They still have to pay for childcare. Families can spend as much as $14,000 a year in some part of the country for childcare. My plan, the cost of childcare for working families, will cost 7% of your income, no more. And that helps millions of parents, especially women, get back to work. 20 million of them are not working. And by the way, it ends up paying for itself, and they're back to work paying taxes. Look, we still have to pay for prescription drugs. You want to benefit a family, reduce the cost of the prescription drugs they have to pay. In America, we pay the highest price for prescription drugs in the world, of any developed nation in the world, about 2 to 3 times what other countries pay. Let me give you I can give you hundreds of examples. Let me give you one. One anti-cancer drug to treat leukemia and lymphoma that costs $14,000 a month in the United States That same exact drug by the same drug company, that drug sold in France costs $6,000. $6,000. Those of you who live on the Canadian border, you cross the border, you can buy the same drug for a hell of a lot less than you can buy in the United States. Same manufacturer. Or take insulin. The cost of drug companies to provide insulin, a vial of insulin, costs less than $10 to make. But there are many families, like families I met last week in Culpeper, Virginia, paying $300 per vial for medicine they need every single day for type 1 diabetes. If they have good health care coverage, this family does, but they still have to pay $5,600 for prescriptions before their insurance kicks in. Think about that. 200,000 American children with type 1 diabetes. Think about being one of those parents. You don't have insurance, but you know your child to live needs that insulin. How do you look that child in the eye when you don't have the income or you don't have the insurance? What do? Not only you worry your child may die, but you're stripped of your dignity. You're stripped of your sense of who you are, not being able to afford that child's needs. Look, we can cap the cost of insulin at $35 a month. Drug companies will still make money. Let me digress just for a moment. I started the cancer moonshot, which I worked very hard on in the administration I served in last. And I held conferences all over the country with literally thousands of people, and at the same time doing it virtually. And after one of them, I got the 12 largest drug companies in one room, and I said, if you found a cure for a particular cancer, and I named a cancer, I said, what amount of money do you think you should be able to charge for that drug? They said, whatever the market will bear. And I said, well, many places like Germany, you can get and make sure you make a profit that's 20 to 30%, even 40% more than your total investment. But once they set the price, that's the only price you can pay to sell that drug. You still make 30, 40% profit after all your expenses you demonstrate. And the other provision is you can't increase the price of that drug beyond the cost of inflation unless you've done additional work on the drug to improve it. Think about where we're going. We're on the verge, thank God, of some significant breakthroughs in healthcare. But should it be based upon what you can afford to pay? If Congress acts, we could take care of things with a stroke of a pen tomorrow. We have a generation of so-called sandwich generation. Many of you are part of it. Trying to take care of your children while take care of your aging mom or dad. We can help make it work.
Meanwhile, there's a large push from millions of Americans for a fourth stimulus check on the federal level from Congress, from President Biden, that they need to send out a fourth stimulus check because remember, the 63% of Americans are struggling to pay their bills, living paycheck to paycheck, or behind on bills currently. And there's $800 billion of stimulus money that is already been approved and allocated from stimulus package 1, 2, and 3, and is $800 billion of leftover stimulus money that Congress needs to just decide who they want to send out to. They don't even necessarily need to pass new money, even though Congress does want to pass new money here and is considering passing a new package in addition to the Build Back Better package, okay? You can see here what's behind the push for a fourth stimulus check from CBS News here just from a few days ago. And in addition to this, we have over 80 different lawmakers that now support further direct payments to Americans. And they could do this simply with the money that has already been approved. They don't even necessarily need to pass new money. It won't necessarily even add to the debt or to inflation because this money has already been printed. It's already been added to the debt per se. It's already been added to inflation per se. So it's already been accounted for per se. So there's so many people right now that are struggling, and Congress needs to recognize this, whether it's Republicans, Democrats, independents, or whoever. Nonetheless, it really doesn't matter. We have a pandemic still going on here, and there's so many people that are in need right now. And I mean, when you see this, there is a lot of support from Congress here. Over 80 different lawmakers now support further direct payments to Americans. And so people like Senator Bernie Sanders, the Senate budget chairman, he's the person in charge of the reconciliation process. That is the process that the Democrats used to pass the third stimulus check package, the American Rescue Plan. They passed that through the reconciliation process, and no matter how they decide to send this money out, whether it's through new stimulus money, a new stimulus package, whether it's under the Build Back Better package, whether it's just reappropriating the money that's sitting there, they do it through executive order and just reappropriate that $800 billion. No matter what they decide to do, these lawmakers that are in support of the stimulus, a further direct payment, a further new stimulus check, they need to get together and send out this money to Americans, because there's literally tens and tens of millions of Americans that are struggling right now, and Congress needs to recognize this and send out some support to the people right now. You know, we talk about elderly people, people on Social Security, people on fixed income, low income Americans, people on disability, children who can't work, and we talk about so many people that go out there, moms and dads that both go to work and struggle to just put food on the table, and now the child tax credits have expired while Congress tries to figure out how to extend the child tax credits. And Social Security, you know, they have that 5.9% cost of living adjustment, but the problem with that is that it lowered SNAP benefits for many millions of Americans. I recently sent out a tweet to Congress that say here millions of people on SNAP had their benefits reduced because of the COLA raise, the cost of living adjustment for people on Social Security. This is crazy. We need a bill to change this, introduced now in Congress. Let's make this change. If you're on Social Security and you have a cost of living adjustment, and then thereby the government reduced your food assistance, we need to get that changed. That should not be something that happens. Call, email, and tweet your representatives. Let's get a bill for that introduced this year, and let's have them make a change on that, whether it has also inflation adjusted measure, a cost of living adjusted measure for inflation on SNAP benefits. Maybe they could do something like that, so when a cost of living adjustment raise comes out, the SNAP benefits would also get a proportionate raise as well. You know, cost of living adjustment, seniors get a 5.9% raise, then the limit for, you know, the benefit limits for SNAP would also go up by 5.9% as well, so that nobody would get their SNAP benefits reduced. That should not be happening. Yeah, let me know your thoughts on this. Senator Bernie Sanders also has some harsh words to say here. He says in January, the child poverty rate increased by 40% in just 1 month. That's sad, really. Think about that. Jumping from 12.1% to 17% as 3.7 million children slipped into poverty as these new as the child tax credit payments did not go out in January, and they did not go out in February either. Yeah. How did this happen? 50 Republicans in the Senate and 1 corporate Democrat, I assume he's talking about Joe Manchin, because there's also Senator Kirsten Sinema from the Democratic side as well, allowed the $300 a month or $250 to $300 per month child tax credit to expire. That is morally obscene. So yeah, Senator Bernie Sanders calling out Republicans and some Democrats there as well. And the child poverty rate increasing by 40% in just 1 month, as the child tax credits have not been able to be extended here as of yet. And we need to send out a forced stimulus check with the money that's already been approved by Congress, the stimulus money, and it's just sitting there.
Alright guys, this is all I have for you in this video. Thank you so much for tuning in. I really missed you. Hopefully I'll see you here again very soon. And I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions on everything we talked about here in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you all. Please hit the like button on the video, share this video with your friends and family, and subscribe if you haven't already, and click that notifications bell to be notified whenever I publish new videos for you. Please stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll see you in the next video.